Hi, I'm Erin and this is OurCraftTable, and I feel really bad that I didn't upload a video yesterday because I made that commitment to myself to do one every single day, and yesterday I didn't even get to upload a cell phone video, which I kind of hate doing anyway, but you know, at least it's something. But yesterday I just couldn't do it because there was so much going on. First, you know, I was at work anyway. Then I had my office holiday party after work, and then after that I went to my mom's house to get the rest of my Christmas decorations. So it was a pretty long day. By the time I got home, I was exhausted, and there was no way that Koi would be able to edit anything if I did get something done. But you know, I felt bad because I said to myself that I was going to do a video every day for the 25 days of Christmas. So yesterday I skipped one, so I feel like today I'm making up for yesterday, but tomorrow I'm going to have to make up for today and then get caught up and do one for tomorrow too. So my plan is to do 2 videos tomorrow because I want to get caught up, because I told myself that I was doing a video every day, so I'm going to do a video every day. So I should have definitely planned ahead and you know, done another video so that Koi could have had something ready so that he could edit it and post it and everything while I was out doing all the stuff that I had to do yesterday. But unfortunately I didn't do it that way, but that's a lesson learned, that's what I need to do. So you might be kind of intrigued by the title of this particular video. But today I am making what I'm calling an anxiety relief bracelet, and it's something that I thought of actually because of all the different things that people are obligated to do during the holidays. You know, there's, like I had yesterday, holiday parties, and you know, there's a lot of pressure that people put on themselves with shopping and decorating and visiting family and visiting friends and you know, wrapping presents and doing all types of stuff, and people can get kind of overwhelmed. Luckily that's not really something that overwhelms me too much. The thing that overwhelms me sometimes is like the social obligation aspect of it, where like yesterday for instance, the holiday party at work, which was actually a whole lot of fun. We had a white elephant gift exchange and there was really good food there. It was a really good time, but there was a time where something like that, knowing that that was coming around the corner, that I had to be at a party and hang out and make small talk and all that other stuff, would have, you know, definitely made me panic a little bit. Would have sent me into a full-blown panic attack or anything like that, but definitely would just make me feel really anxious. But luckily, you know, I don't feel that way, you know, around my coworkers. They're really nice and everything, but you know, you do have to admit, and I definitely admit, that sometimes those types of social obligations just make me think, oh gosh, I have to do all this and do all that. And it is something that can make you a little bit, you know, a little bit wired up, especially if you're like me at all. If you're an introvert, you don't necessarily like to do the whole small talk thing, and you don't really like that feeling of obligation to be somewhere. You know, of course you want to be around family and friends and stuff like that, but sometimes, you know, certain social obligations can be just, you know, a little bit much. And you know, those are things that happen quite a bit around the holidays. There's lots of things that people have to do. But that's what made me think of this particular project, because it is something that I think could definitely help if that's, you know, one of your anxiety triggers. For me, I definitely have social anxiety, but then sometimes, and luckily this hasn't happened in a really long time, because I have been able to find ways to stop it before it starts. But for me, I have had panic attacks. They are definitely not fun. I know they're definitely different for everybody, but you know, for me, when I feel a panic attack coming on, instead of feeding into it and allowing it to happen, I use my own coping mechanisms to, you know, calm myself down and get myself to a point where I can say, okay, everything's going to be okay. We don't have to go into full-blown panic mode. You know, I'm just going to calm down and deal with the, you know, the issue that I'm having right now, and everything will be fine. So, you know, if you've never suffered anything like that, I'm very glad for you that you never have. But for people who have had panic attacks, you know what I'm talking about. You know how scary and awful they can feel. And it's something that I definitely wouldn't wish on anybody. So that's why I thought, well, okay, so let me see what I can do to maybe help people with it. And, you know, this is definitely just my strategy. It might not work for everybody else, but it's something that works for me. And it's something that I actually learned from a friend a couple of years ago, because, you know, we got to talking at one point and she told me that she was having panic attacks too, and how she coped with it. Even if she was full-blown in the middle of a panic attack, she would think of something that she could see. So she would look for something and kind of focus on that thing. She would think of something that she could hear, so she would listen to that. So if she was in the car, she could listen to the radio, or, you know, I mean, anything. It doesn't matter. Just something you can listen to, something you can hear, something that you can touch. And so she had like this little thing, just a little, I want to say token. I'm thinking like Inception. Wasn't that called like a token that they had? But something that she could touch, and it would be something that would kind of ground her and make her, you know, kind of focus on that thing she was touching instead of the thing that was causing her panic attack to be triggered. Let's see. And something that she could taste. And, you know, that might be a piece of gum or some candy or whatever, just focusing on that. So that was 5 things, right? See, hear, touch, smell, and taste. Yeah, good. So those 5 things. So if that's something that you can kind of focus on to take away from sort of the scatteredness of a panic attack, then that's definitely something that might work. Or some people do it a little bit different, where so it's say 5 things that you can hear. So you listen for 5 different things. Like right now, I can hear the fan going on over my oven. I can hear my cat scratching on a piece of cardboard box that I brought over from my mom's house. What can I hear? I hear my son's TV. Hearing is kind of hard when you're in, you know, a quiet house. That's all I can hear right now, but you get the point. So anyway, you think of those 5 things, and then you go down and you think of 4 things that you can hear, and then 3 things that you can hear, and then 2, and then 1, and supposedly by the time that you get to 1, you're so focused on, you know, doing those specific tasks, like all the things that you can hear and all the things that you can see, that it's taken the focus away from the panic attack. So that one I haven't really tried that way because I haven't really had to, but the one that I do often is the one that I talked about before, like the thing that you can, you know, just really focusing on the thing that you can smell and the thing that you can taste, and that's really helped me out a lot. Luckily, I haven't had a panic attack in a really long time, but, well, I'll tell you a funny story about the first one that I had in a minute. Let me get to the craft, because I have no idea how long I've been talking. You guys are probably like, just get on with it. This is a craft that is probably more of an intermediate level. I think the things that I've been showing recently have been more of a beginner level, but this has to do with beading. And beading is my absolute favorite thing to do. And I haven't done it a lot recently, so I'm glad that I've been able to get back into it. But the first thing that you need for this project is beaded letters. This is actually 3 packs combined into one. I think I bought 2 silver packs and 1 gold pack, and I got these from Michael's. Then you want a little, so you need a metal connection. And this one says choose happiness, because I think that's something important to remember if you're feeling anxious or panicky or whatever. You know, it's not that easy, just choose to be happy, but you know, if you think about the effect of just deciding that, okay, you want to get through whatever it is that's upsetting you or whatever, you know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. You can choose to be happy, and you may not be happy right in that moment, but you know, you can get there. You can definitely get there. And so I also got this cording. I think it's just cotton. Yes, cotton. That's wax cotton, actually. I have black. That's what I'm working with right now, but this is the brown part of it. So this came in like a little pack where this was the brown, and it also had the black here. I like this a lot. I don't know what size this is. I just know that it's 10 yards altogether, but I got this at Michael's also. And then you just need some scissors and maybe a ruler and maybe your cell phone, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But you know, one thing that is pretty relaxing, I feel like I sound like a crazy person to people who have never had any type of anxiety issues or whatever, but to the people who understand what I'm talking about, you're gonna get this. It's actually very relaxing to take these beads and order them. You know, just, you know, lay them out alphabetical. It's just like, it's one of those relaxing things where you can just kind of take your mind off of everything and just kind of, you know, settle in and just calmly put everything in a little order so that you can make your craft. It's, you know, it's very relaxing. I actually did this before, and then I didn't think, oh, you know what, maybe I should actually keep these separated so I don't have to do it all over again next time. But I mean, Coy can probably put a little picture right here, but I separated them all out alphabetically so I could see exactly what I had. So that's very, very helpful for a craft like this. So the first thing that you want to do, well, maybe I should show you the finished product of one of them. I made one that is silver, and this one says strength. And then this one has the little reminders on it of what I was just talking about. I'm not sure if you can see all of that clearly, but it says taste and touch. And then underneath, smell, and here in the bottom I put C. And I just thought this was really cute. It's adjustable. I put the adjustable knots on here so that it's basically one size fits all. You can adjust it. It's fairly easy to put on. But I just think it's really super cute. And I chose strength, obviously, because, you know, you have to be strong to get through some of the different issues that might be going on, causing anxiety sometimes. And, you know, that definitely shows a lot of strength of character when you are able to get through it. So that's just sort of my little thing to say, yep, Erin, you can get through this. You know, I think that's an important thing to remind yourself, especially when you're having a panic attack. Like, okay, well, you know, I've had an issue with this before, and guess what? I got through it, and I can get through it again. So I'm measuring out 7 inches, and I actually double it, so it's 14. And I'm going to make 4 of these 14-inch lengths. Okay, and 4. Get this stuff out of the way. And so I'm going to take my little metal connector and take that out of the packaging. But yeah, I should tell you the story of my very first panic attack, because it's funny now, but it definitely was not funny then. But while I do that, I'm going to put, I doubled the string back over, and then I'm going to put it through here just so I can make a slip knot. So it's here, and then I'm going to knot it just like that. I'm going to do that again. So I'm going to put 2 on this side and 2 on this side. But the first time I had a panic attack, it was really weird, and I have no idea what triggered it, because from what I can remember, none of my, well, see, it was my very first one, so, you know, I don't know, but it's definitely nothing that ever triggered a panic attack later. But this was, gosh, that was, I guess, almost 16 years ago, because Koi was a baby, and I was sitting down watching a movie with his father, my now ex-husband, and I was feeding Koi some baby food. He was sitting in his little bouncy, and I was feeding him baby food, and we were watching this movie, and all of a sudden I just started feeling my heart racing. And I mean, just out of nowhere, my heart was pounding out of my chest, and I was like, what is going on? And so, you know, I'm trying to kind of breathe through it, like, okay, I don't know what this is. Maybe it's some weird post-pregnancy thing, I don't know. But Koi was like probably about 9 months by that time, so I don't know. I was just trying to figure out what it was, trying not to think that it was anything bad. But then it wouldn't stop. It, you know, my heart kept pounding and pounding, and I just started thinking, oh my gosh, there's something really wrong, there's something really wrong. And I kind of got like this tunnel vision, like I couldn't pay attention to anything else around me. I was just having all these, you know, random thoughts, like, okay, there's something wrong, what is it, you know, this is something really, really wrong. And, you know, my mind is starting to really wander, like, okay, what's going on here? And so then I think, okay, I need to call 911. So, okay, pausing the story for that. What I'm gonna do here, since I did the on this one, since I did the hear and see and everything, I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little knot about 3/4 of an inch, maybe an inch away from the bottom. Can you see that? Put a knot there. And then I'm going to put the words on there. So since this reads this way, you want to make sure that you put the letters on in a way that it reads the right way, not backwards. So I'm just going to do that. And while I do that, I'll keep talking. So, so I was like, okay, I'm going to call 911, because, you know, I'm thinking I'm having a heart attack or something. Like, you know, it wasn't normal. I'm, you know, young and healthy, and my heart shouldn't be beating out of my chest for nothing. So I call 911, and I tell them that, you know, my heart is beating really rapidly, and I don't know what's going on. And I can't remember, they might have asked me if I had any symptoms or whatever. I really can't remember. I think they might have asked me if I did anything out of the ordinary or something. I don't remember. It was so long ago, and I was really panicking. So there's like a little piece in this bead that's not allowing the cord to go through. Let me see if I can. So anyway, I was panicking at the time. I don't remember exactly what happened, but all I can say is that I told them that I needed them to come, and so they were on their way. And so you know, we had just eaten dinner. So I was like, well, I'm not going to go to the hospital without brushing my teeth first. So, and it seems so absurd at this moment, looking back, that it's so weird. It's not. It's like this little spot in there. It's like this little plastic bit that's just kind of stuck. But anyway, it just seems really absurd right now, thinking, okay, obviously if I was having a real medical emergency, that I probably wouldn't have the forethought to say, you know what, I should go brush my teeth. You know, I would probably really be seriously scared or hurting or something, to the point where I wouldn't be able to go brush my teeth. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong about that, but that's the main thing when I look back now, thinking, what was I thinking? You know, if I can go and brush my teeth, probably not having any type of real episode here. So I don't know. That's not to say that if you can brush your teeth, you're not having a medical emergency. I'm definitely not saying that. I'm going to make another knot here because I just remembered that I made a double knot with that one so that the beads wouldn't slip through. So let me do that here. But anyway, you know, so this is definitely not medical advice. This is just my own personal story. So, you know, I go into the bathroom and I'm still kind of freaking out. I felt like my heart was kind of calming down at that point, but there you can see the knot. You see that? But I was still freaking out, and I'm still thinking, you know, I'm going to the hospital. I don't care. I'm going to make sure that nothing's wrong. So probably, you know, a few minutes later, there's a knock on the door, and the EMTs come in, and, you know, they check my blood pressure and pulse and do whatever else they were doing. I'm assuming that they, you know, like use a stethoscope and check my heart. I don't remember. It was kind of all a blur. But what I do remember is that this one woman who was there, one of the EMTs, was just very dismissive, and she said, "You're having a panic attack." And I just looked at her, and, you know, because I'm an introvert and, you know, I have social anxiety, I didn't say what I was thinking, but I know my look said it all, because I looked at her and I was thinking to myself, bitch, this is not a panic attack. I'm having a cardiac episode here. And I was just so mad. I was so mad. I was like, how dare she think that my serious medical condition that I'm having right now is a panic attack. I was like cussing her out in my head. And again, looking back right now, I'm thinking this is actually pretty funny. And so I was like, no, I need to go to the hospital. I want to make sure everything is okay. We need to go right now. And I don't think I said it. I know I didn't say it that forcefully, because, you know, I was freaking out, and I'm not usually that type of person to say that type of thing. So we went to the hospital, and very long story short, everything was okay. Surprise, surprise. And yes, I did have a panic attack, which I think made me even more mad, because I was like, oh, how did she know I was having a panic attack? And I didn't. But, you know, of course I was thankful that it wasn't, you know, an actual problem that I was having with my heart, but it was just so scary. And I mean, just a really bad feeling. And, you know, it was just one of the worst things I had ever experienced. But luckily it was all over almost as quickly as it began, and I got released that night because there wasn't anything wrong. And you know, I was able to, you know, just try to start thinking of what I was going to do to, you know, treat. Well, I wasn't even really thinking about treatment at that time, because that was the first one that I had ever had. And then, you know, it was probably a few years later before I had another one. And, you know, totally different things that were triggering it, but the exact same symptoms, the exact same thoughts going through my head, like, oh my gosh, what's happening? You know, I'm thinking I'm gonna die. And, you know, it was just so scary, but then it passed and everything was okay. But I'm not gonna lie, when it happened a couple more times, I went to a cardiologist just to make sure, like, I just really want to make sure that everything is okay. And it was. Everything was fine. It definitely was, you know, a series of panic attacks. So then it was at that point when, you know, my doctor said, you know, it's definitely nothing going on physically. You know, she said, you know, we can try Xanax. So I was like, I'll try anything at this point, because the panic attacks were coming fairly frequently at this point. And, you know, I was like, okay, let me try Xanax. So I tried it, and, you know, I love that it worked within, you know, probably like half an hour. But then also when I thought about it, I was like, well, panic attacks kind of go away after half an hour anyway, so, you know, but it's working, so I'm going to keep taking it. But I realized that the Xanax was just kind of sending me up and down and up and down. And, you know, I did not like that, because, you know, I would feel good and everything would be fine, and then some little thing would happen and a panic attack would happen, and then I would say, okay, I need to take a Xanax. And I would, and, you know, that would, you know, make it go away, or really it was just the time that made it go away. And I just felt like I was having more panic attacks instead of less, which was crazy. So I told her that I didn't want to take it anymore. She asked me if I wanted to try something else. I don't remember what it was that she asked me, but I didn't. And so then I just started kind of looking for natural remedies. And while I'm talking about that, I just want to show you that I put this is upside down. I put 2 here, and then I did a knot, and I put 3, I spelled 3 out here, and I did a knot there so that they won't come off. I'm doing that for these sides too. I'm about to do 4 and 5. But so I started looking for natural remedies and things that would cause panic attacks. So one thing, wait, did I do a double one here? No. I have to do the double knot because the gold ones seem to have bigger holes than the silver ones. For this bracelet, I think I only did 1 knot now that I think about it, not 2. But for the gold ones, they have bigger holes. But, I don't know. Depends on your beads that you get. This is what's going on with my beads. So anyway, like I said, I was researching what would happen, or what would trigger, like what physical things could trigger a panic attack, because I knew what situations would trigger one, but sometimes I felt like I was just panicking really for no reason. I wasn't getting any type of a trigger. So I did my research, and I found out that caffeine can sometimes trigger, and it was at that point in my life where I was chugging like 3 Mountain Dews a day. We're talking 3 20-ounce Mountain Dews. So, but I had been doing it for years without panic attacks, but still, I cut out the caffeine. I shouldn't say cut out, I cut it down, because I will drink decaf coffee, and decaf does not mean caffeine free, it just means less caffeine. So I only drink decaf now. I very, very rarely will drink a Coke, because I'm not really a Coke person anyway. That's not really something I like to drink. But every once in a while, when I know I need a little bit more caffeine than what the what the decaf is gonna give me, then I'll drink a Coke. And it's not an issue. It's just Coke's not my favorite. I like other Coke products like Sprite and stuff like that, but just Coke is something I only drink on the rarest of occasions. And then another thing I found out is that aspartame can really cause a problem. Aspartame can actually trigger panic attacks in people who are prone to anxiety like that. So, you know, at least that's what I've heard. And I can tell you that ever since I cut out the aspartame, and because first I just tried cutting out the caffeine, which helped, but I was still drinking soda sometimes that had aspartame in it, or chewing gum that had aspartame in it. And when I would do that, it would sometimes trigger a panic attack. But I cut out the aspartame completely, and it stopped. I stopped having panic attacks where I just could not control them whatsoever. Every once in a while I would still have one. I still have, I haven't had one in a really long time, but I can, you know, sometimes feel it coming on. And, you know, when that happens, like I said, I use my little techniques, but I haven't had a full-blown panic attack in a long time, and I think it has a lot to do with my diet, which is very little caffeine and no aspartame. So I thought that was something that was really interesting, and I always share that with people who have panic attacks, that aspartame can do that to you. It's really not good for you at all. And I can tell you that one time when I did have almost a full-blown panic attack, probably a couple of months ago, was when I accidentally drank aspartame. I got a soda from somewhere, I can't remember where, and it had high fructose corn syrup in it and aspartame. Why do both? Like, I don't understand that. Why do two different types of sweetener? So I didn't really, I thought I tasted it in the soda, but I didn't taste it that much, so I thought, no, I'm just, you know, I'm just thinking like I'm tasting it. I don't think I really am drinking it. And then all of a sudden, that feeling when my heart started beating kind of fast, and I started my mind kind of started racing. I'm like, what is going on? You know, I haven't felt like this in a very long time. Came downstairs and looked in the refrigerator to look at that soda, because that was the only thing it could be. And sure enough, it had aspartame in it, and I was so mad. And I had to I had to go lay down in my bed, and I couldn't close my eyes, because if I close my eyes it gets worse. So I had to lay down on my bed, and I think I was watching something on TV that wasn't anything that I needed to pay attention to. Just something where, it's just like something that would take the focus off of, me freaking out, and just had to calm myself down. It was just so awful, but that was the last time that it happened, and I really believe that, changing your diet can help a lot. For me, I'm not saying this is going to work for everybody, but for me, the medication did not work the way it was, or at least the way I wanted it to work, but it didn't work the way I wanted it to work. And the thing that finally helped me was really my diet. And then now when I feel something kind of coming on, I can say, okay, let me use my techniques to try to calm down, and it helps out a lot. I can't remember the last time I had a full-blown panic attack. I think it was like 3 years ago, maybe 4. Yeah, it might have been 4 years ago. So it's been a long time. So that's a very good thing. I'm very happy about that. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking the cord again and cutting 7 inches off. This time just 7 inches, not 14. And actually I need to do this twice. I need 2 7-inch lengths. And I am going to make the adjustable knot. And this is where my cell phone came in handy. I don't know if you do this when you craft, but you know, when I do something where I don't know what I'm doing, like rainbow loom stuff, I will sit here with my phone and follow along with the tutorial. So that's what I'm doing right now. So what I looked up, and I'll ask Koi to put a link to this in the description box, because I've done this a few times and I think I've gotten the hang of it now, but definitely this person who does this tutorial makes it very simple, and I really was able to, you know, get the hang of it pretty quickly. I just need to be able to do it by myself. But it's called How to Make a Sliding Knot, and it's a jewelry making tutorial, and it's by Jewelry Tutorial HQ, and it has like 450,000 views. So I was like, okay, this is probably a good one, and it is. So I'm going to make my little sliding knot according to this tutorial, and this will just take a moment. And the way I'm doing it is I'm taking the top two and making the sliding knot for this one, and I'm going to take the bottom two and make the sliding knot for that. I forgot something, and that's why I messed up. Okay, take this out. I didn't mess up the knot because that's a very good tutorial. I did not mess up the knot. What I messed up was that I tie the strings at the end so that I don't get them confused with the strings of the sliding knot. But also it makes it, you need to tie the strings at the end anyway, so that there's an end point for the sliding knot, if that makes sense. So like, if you look at this, when you, I'll do this one, there's knots here on either side, so that when you open it up, it's not going to go anywhere. And then you can use the knots to close it. See? So that's what I forgot to do on this one. Okay, so full disclosure, I was finishing up the bracelet and I realized that something did not look right. And I kept looking and I was just like, what did I do wrong? And somehow I gave you the wrong measurements for the bracelet. So I used actually 20-inch lengths of the cord for each one of these, doubled over. So that that would make a pretty big difference, because before I said 14, not 20. So I was like, why isn't this fitting? What did I do wrong? And I don't know where I even got 7 from. I think it might have been from the loop that I'm going to do to make the single knot sliding thing. So I don't know, I guess I was sitting here running my mouth about panic attacks and all that other stuff, and I wasn't paying attention. And it's funny that, you know, when I'm back. Sorry about that. My mom called, so I had to take her phone call. But I'm just finishing up the knot that I made based off of the tutorial that Koi is going to link, because I can follow along the tutorial, and I think you'll be able to follow it along very well too. I don't think I would be good at teaching how to do this particular knot. Maybe in the future, I don't know. But right now, the focus is on getting this bracelet done. So, and you might already know how to do a sliding knot. Maybe you have those skills, and if you do, that's awesome. Because now that I know how to do it, I'm going to be using this knot all the time, because I like that you can just slide it. You don't have to have a clasp. You know, sometimes I just don't feel like, you know, finding a clasp that will go with the with the piece of jewelry that I've made. You know, I just want the jewelry to be the focus, not the clasp. So anyway, where's my other piece? While I was on the phone with my mom, Smokey came over and she started messing with stuff. And here we go. Here's my other piece. So I tied together the 2 and the 4, and now I'm about to tie together the 5 and the 3. And remember that we have the knots on either side of the beads, and then the knot at the top right here. So I'm going to do that. Okay, so that part is done. So you're probably wondering, okay, why do you have 2, 3, 4, and 5? Well, that's because I saved 1 for the drawstring. So I'm going to attach that to which one? I'll attach it to this one because this one is the longest. So I'm just going to undo this knot. And I'm not going to put a knot down here because I want the letters to be able to move, because, you know, this is an adjustable bracelet, so I don't want to restrict the movement at all. So O, N, E. And now I'm just going to do a double knot at the top because the holes for the gold beads in my pack are much bigger than the holes of the silver beads. So I'm going to do a nice thick double knot. Is that thick enough? Let's see. I think I put the knots right next to each other instead of on top of each other. Try to tighten that up a little bit. Or I can just put a third knot. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. Sorry, I'm so corny. Okay, there. So now that is there. So if it makes any sense, so I just ignore this part. So when I have the 2 strings to use to adjust it, one of the strings has this part on it. So I like that. I like the way that looks. And I did that with this one as well. So I did 1 because 1 is always the first and most important step. So 1 is the thing that's dangling off of this bracelet. And C is the first thing that I do to, you know, work on my calming exercise if I'm feeling anxious. So C is the one that's hanging off of this one. And also I just thought it was kind of funny, like, you know, after I've calmed myself down, I can say, see, everything's all better. So that's it. I really, really appreciate that you took the time to watch this. I hope that this particular craft helps people who might have some anxiety issues to kind of work your way through it. And, you know, this would also make a really great gift for somebody. You know, it definitely does not have to be this theme. You can, you know, get the beads and put anything on there that you want to. You can, you know, find any number of little, what are these called again? What did I say they were called? Metal connectors? Yeah, so these things, I mean, they have so many different sayings besides just strength and choose happiness. There are, you know, a bunch of different designs, and you can do anything and make your own little bracelets. So I'm going to trim these up. Actually, I don't think I have to. yeah, I'm just going to trim these up a little bit right here and put the bracelet on, and Koi will insert a little picture of what they look like on, I think. And like I said, I really do appreciate that you watched. I hope this is a craft that, you know, you might be interested in making. I really enjoy beading. Let me know if you enjoy beading too, because I'll put some other beading crafts on here. The beading is one of the main crafts that I've done. So you know, I have a lot of different projects that have to do with beading if you guys want to see any of those. But that's it for this video. So for third, fourth, fifth time, I really appreciate that you watched, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!